Uh-oh, you missed the open enrollment for marketplace plans. So what are your options, if any? Well, let's talk about it in today's video. So first and foremost, remember that open enrollment in most states actually lasts from November 1st to January 15th. So it's actually a little bit longer than it used to be. Of course, you'll need to enroll by December 15th to make sure that your insurance is active come January 1st. But again, in most states, you still have through January 15th to enroll. Now, some states actually have their own individual marketplaces as opposed to using healthcare.gov. And very often, these states will have slightly different open enrollment periods. So it's actually possible that you may not have missed open enrollment based on where you live. So even if you don't know if your state uses healthcare.gov or their own individual marketplace, that's no problem. You can still go to healthcare.gov and it will redirect you. So I'm going to put in a California zip code. I hope that made somebody chuckle. And you'll see here your state's marketplace is Covered California. Visit Covered California. Then you would click that link and it would redirect you to your state's individual marketplace. Now, the reason I say that is because, as I mentioned, different states may have different open enrollment periods. For example, in California, the open enrollment period actually goes until January 31st. So don't just assume that just because we're past January 15th that you have missed your state's open enrollment. Now, if after all that, yes, actually you did miss open enrollment, then there may still be a few options available to you. But before we get to that, please make sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date. We do release these videos on a weekly basis. And of course, as a reminder, we are licensed health insurance brokers and we're licensed nationwide. So if you have any questions, you can reach us in the comments below or at the number on the screen. Of course, there is absolutely no charge for our services. All right, back to it. Now, the easiest way to enroll in a marketplace plan outside of open enrollment is if you qualify for a special enrollment period, and you can do so by experiencing one of several qualifying life events. So usually special enrollment periods are triggered by one of three types of qualifying events, either changes in household, changes in residence, or loss of health coverage. So changes in household basically means the change in the size of your household. So if you get married, if you have a baby, adopt a child, or placed a child for foster care, if you get divorced or separated, or if someone in your plan dies. Also a change in residence. If you move to a new area, that will trigger a special enrollment period. Of course, you do have to move to a new zip code. Or if you move from the place you attend school if you're a student, place you both live and work if you're a seasonal worker, or a shelter or other types of transitional housing. And then, of course, loss of health coverage. So if you have health insurance through your job or through your spouse's job and you lose that coverage, that would trigger a special enrollment period. However, there are actually other qualifying changes listed here and on another page that we're going to go through as well. So gaining membership into a federally recognized tribe or status as an Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act, becoming a U.S. citizen, leaving incarceration, starting or ending service as an AmeriCorps state national, being affected by an unexpected and uncontrollable event. So this happened recently with some of the hurricanes that we've been having. Also, there are even more things that can trigger special enrollment periods. These are for the complex issues. So these are not the things that usually would, well, it's not that they wouldn't usually trigger a special enrollment period. You just might have to jump through a few more hoops, really. So you may qualify for a special enrollment period if there's unexpected situations like an unexpected hospitalization or a temporary cognitive disability, natural disaster, which we already talked about. Enrollment or plan information display errors. So if something goes wrong during enrollment, you may be eligible for a special enrollment period. Being newly eligible for savings on a marketplace plan. That has to do with Medicaid usually. Or even if you were found ineligible for Medicaid or CHIP, if you apply thinking that you may be eligible, if you're told that you would be eligible for Medicaid and then you end up being denied, that would trigger a special enrollment period. Gaining or becoming a dependent due to a court order, as in custody, or domestic abuse and violence or spousal abandonment. In any of these situations, you would need to file an appeal. Remember that you will only have a 60-day window for your special enrollment period, either before or after the qualifying life event, depending upon the type of qualifying life event. Now, if you miss this 60-day window, then you are out of luck. Now, something you may not know about is that you may actually qualify for sort of an ongoing special enrollment period based on your income. This is actually a recent change, and it's set to revert back at the end of 2025. So depending upon when you're watching this video, this may or may not be true. But at the time of the recording of this video, if you estimate your income to be less than 150% of the FPL, which is federal poverty level, then you may actually be eligible for that ongoing special enrollment period, which would certainly give you much more flexibility outside of the open enrollment period. Now, if none of these options are available to you, then please do not forego insurance entirely. I know that it is very overwhelming, and of course, it's not always financially feasible for you to enroll in just a full coverage private insurance plan. Luckily, there are still other options. For example, you may wish to enroll in a short-term medical plan, which is a type of private insurance. It used to be called catastrophic coverage plans, but they're really very different, so don't let the differing terms confuse you. Short-term medical plans are very specifically a type of private insurance plan that is available for a shorter period of time. There have been recent legislative changes which reverted short-term medical plans back to a period of up to 3 to 4 months, as opposed to the 3 years which we had seen in recent years. However, that may change as well, so we will make sure to keep you up to date. Now, short-term medical plans can be a great option if you are younger or maybe healthier, because there is medical underwriting. So that comes with it pros and cons. If you are someone who's on the younger, healthier side, you can get access to a pretty good monthly premium and still have access to usually a decent quality health insurance plan. Of course, that's tailored to meet your needs. So you can have a plan that's higher coverage. Those do tend to be more expensive, or a plan with more limited coverage, and those tend to be less expensive. However, with short-term medical plans, you will often have access to nationwide PPO coverage, which is great if you're looking for ultimate flexibility. Now, as I said, short-term medical plans do require medical underwriting, so if you have pre-existing conditions, it's possible or even likely that they will not be covered. And again, if you are someone with more extensive medical needs, then a short-term medical plan might not be ideal for you. You could also enroll in a hospital indemnity or critical illness plan. Now, these are good because they will help to cover your expenses should the worst happen. They're basically lump sum payout plans. And based on the terms of your plan, if you are either hospitalized or diagnosed with a critical illness, then you will receive a lump sum payout, which could serve to offset some of those medical expenses. You can also use that lump sum payout however you need. You could even use it to pay your mortgage. And based on your specific situation, there could even be Medicaid or pregnancy Medicaid. If you have questions about any of these options, you can reach us in the comments below or at the number on the screen. As I said before, we are licensed health insurance brokers and we're licensed nationwide. A little bit more about those short-term medical plans. As I said recently, there have been some changes, so I'm going to link the video discussing those changes right below. And of course, our video all about options if you lose your job or if you are self-employed. In the meantime, please make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.